Humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful, and we're beautiful, and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, you must become the victor. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I have something to show you today that is just too hysterical not to let the cat out of the bag. There it is, right there. Now, this isn't an AI-generated image. This is a skin that Ubisoft was going to introduce into Assassin's Creed Shadows. This is something that they actually sat around and designed and thought that you were going to pay money for. And here's the thing. It doesn't take that much talent to make something good with something like Assassin's Creed. Because Assassin's Creed in Japan pretty much writes itself, doesn't it? You make the main character a fighting-age Japanese male, and you basically make the game like Way of the Samurai 2 from the PlayStation 2. If you do that, if you took Way of the Samurai 2 and you updated the graphics, and you had that be an assassin, and you had a story with several branching options, and it was something unique to Dragon Age, or Assassin's Creed and Dragon Age at this point, both franchises that have suffered greatly from this. But if you just did that, you would be in a winning position. But instead, these freaks can't help themselves. They have to meddle and inject and taint and twist everything to the point where gamers are exasperated. But here's the problem. Here's the problem. These people do not live in a monolith. They do not live in their delusional utopia. There is something called competition. And competition is brutal. It's brutal. So, in the month that this is coming out, another woke piece of garbage game called Avowed, may have heard of it, is also coming out. But there's also Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is coming out in February. It's coming out in the first week of February. So, you have studios that reject wokeness, reject identity politics, reject this madness and lunacy and degeneracy, and guess what? I would bet you every cent that I've earned making YouTube videos in the last year that Kingdom Come Deliverance is going to have a higher concurrent player count than Assassin's Creed Shadows or Avowed. And do you know why? Because it's about creating a game for your audience. Do you think that this is what the gamers think when they imagine I keep wanting to say Dragon Age, because these games are so amorphous. It's like a blob. This could be taken out of Dragon Age Veilguard, and you know it. These people are a hegemonic cult that relies on the worst immutable characteristics to try to propagate an ideology, all for their own ego, their own sense of self-importance. They want to feel like they're good, decent people, and they're not. And so I look at this abomination of a costume, and I go, how on earth did you think that anyone was going to pay for this, or anyone was going to be enamored with this? The entire situation would be comical if it weren't people's jobs on the line. And here's the thing. A couple years ago, these freaks in the industry thought they were too big to fail. They thought gamers were over We don't have to cater to gamers. And then the DEI money comes in and they're like, yes, you mean an outside investor, which is China, is going to fund our crusade against gamers? Oh, yes. And so they took that money greedily, happily. But here's the problem. That money has largely dried up. Because the entire plan, you can call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, the entire plan was to drive these Western companies into the ground so that Chinese companies could buy them for pennies on the dollar, because all of these DEI initiatives are banned in China. All of them. They are banned in China. And meanwhile, China's coming out with games hand over fist. And guess what? They're amazing. Black Myth Wukong is nominated for Game of the Year. So we have a problem. And nobody wants to address this within the industry. They want to blame gamers. They want to blame grifters on YouTube. Meanwhile, at, game development conferences, there are panels, like 15 to 20% of them, that are all about DEI initiatives. All about minimizing your whiteness. Racist, low IQ panels that do nothing to help the game and do a whole lot to expedite the process of making sure that you and your company are out of business. So yeah, I laugh at this. I think this is funny, but at the same time, there's part of me that feels sad for this. Because this outfit is disgusting. It's weird. And don't think that it's lost on me that it's the trans colors. They thought that they were being slick. They're not. You freaks are so obsessed with this stuff that you are actually doing real world harm. And Asmongold in a recent video mentioned this, and I agree with him. It's something that I've said on multiple occasions. That these freaks are willing to sacrifice your livelihood and your job and your reputation for their momentary instant gratification. For their feeling of self-importance and their catharsis at lashing out at gamers because gamers don't like them and their ideology. They don't like this crazy woke crap. Because of that, they're willing to cost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people their job. And I'm not just talking about Firewalk Studio, which lost over 150 people. I'm not just talking about the X-Defiant team that lost 275 people. EA has laid off hundreds and hundreds of people. All of these companies are laying off hundreds and hundreds of people. Now, part of that is the hiring boom in the COVID pandemic. But at the same time, part of it is also because the games that they're putting out are so obnoxiously shit. And they don't resonate with anyone. And then you see things like this, and it just makes total sense. The mentality and the mindset of these people are fundamentally wrong. They do not belong in any positions of control or authority. These people who design things like this, who think things like this, who want to talk about whiteness as a monolith, and want to talk about whiteness as a mechanism of power, those freaks should be cleaning the floor. And every time they have an idea, it should be sent right to the trash bin. Those people are not fit for purpose. They're delusional. They're deranged. They should be on some kind of medication. But more often than not, we see things like this, and then we're left to wonder how. How could it get this bad? How could you go and make a game in feudal Japan in the Assassin's Creed universe, and this is ever something that was conjured up? It is inconceivable. And there are so many backbenchers and people like Legacy Killer XD or HD or whatever the hell his name is, and Sid Alpha, and so many people that want to say, oh, you're just grifters. You see wokeness everywhere. Yeah. You know why? You know why? Channels like myself call out wokeness and identity politics. Do you know why I do that? Because it is everywhere. And it's a problem. And these freaks, they've been given an inch and they've taken 10 miles. And so I'm looking at this going, well, we need to take at least some of those miles back. And the response is, no. No, how dare you even criticize them? I will always criticize them. They're disgusting narcissistic freaks. They're retards. These are people that put out stuff like this and think that it's a win. But at the end of the day, they know that their ideology and their worldview is hated, and they do it anyway. It's why they're so petrified that people are going to find out. The last thing that these left-wing freaks want is for you to become aware of them working on a project. Let me just tell you something. If your ideas, if your concepts are that weak that they cannot stand up to scrutiny or the light of day, then you may want to rethink your entire worldview, because it may in fact be an evil, self-serving, degenerate cult full of absolute vermin and degenerate bottom feeders, which is the case here. And these people have no duty of care for what they're working on. They don't care about the hard work, the time, and the effort to build these franchises up. It took years to make Assassin's Creed the legacy franchise that it is. And these people come in and they don't give a shit. It's all about them. Same thing with Avowed. How many games did it take to earn Obsidian the reputation that they had? Many games. But what do they do with it? They piss it down the drain for no good reason. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is what they think is going to work. They thought this was going to resonate with gamers. Or rather, they thought they were going to be able to force you to be silent while they put this out there and do it anyway to satiate their own egos. Thankfully, that didn't work very well. People are speaking out about this. People are making fun of them. And it looks like Ubisoft is going to be dissolved in 2025. That's the news going around. That it's going to be portioned up like a Thanksgiving turkey, and parts of it are going to go elsewhere because they couldn't keep that DEI filth out of their company. They couldn't do what needs to be done. They should have had an actual leader that they hired to come in and Order 66, walk in there like it's Anakin walking in the Jedi Temple and just start slashing people, metaphorically speaking. Pink slip, pink slip, pink slip, pink slip, pink slip. It should have been an absolute purge, metaphorically speaking. Firing after firing. All of these woke freaks at the same time walked out or escorted out. No, don't worry, we'll pack your things up, we'll ship it to you. The HR department, all of these people that were brought in from like the Behavioral Interactive and all these other DEI agencies, they should have been frog marched out of the building. It should have been a cleaning, a cleansing, metaphorically speaking. It should have been unequivocal that our company, our reputation, our brand is more important than pandering to a bunch of mentally ill freaks on the internet. And we are not going to have any of that in our company ever again. If you had done that, you would be in a much better position. How do you mess up an open world Star Wars game? An open world Star Wars game. BioWare of the past had that same task, and they made Knights of the Old Republic. And you, Ubisoft, you made Star Wars Outlaws, which is why you're getting cut up. You're getting divided. You're getting dissected in 2025. Those are the reports. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's important to call this stuff out, to pay attention to it. Don't let yourself be kowtowed by people that want to silence you, that want to tell you to shut up. Oh, you're too vocal about wokeness in video games. No, I'm not vocal enough. Anyway, that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. See you next time.